baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. Really does help the channel, helps us have a better stream, and we have more viewers. So if you would, please, just one more reminder, like the video. Certainly would appreciate it. And I'm reading some of your comments. Of course, we're going to read through all of them at the end of the show, but I'm reading some of them, and one of them caught my eye, and it kind of fits into what I'm about to talk about. Chess Burger says, quote, "The Braves are done. Just chill and wait for 2025. Maybe then they can compete versus Philly." Now, here's what I'm going to say about it, and the reason I'm telling you as opposed to showing you the clip is because I don't have it clipped. But Alex Anthopoulos had a great point in that interview with 680 The Fan, and he basically said, look, over the past 7 years of me being here, the 1 year where we had the lowest win total, we won the World Series. The 2 years where we had the highest win totals, we were eliminated in the first round. It is June 2nd right now. We are nowhere near October. The Braves find themselves 7 games back, I believe, on the cusp of the offense absolutely breaking out. And I think, you know, with Alex Anthopoulos in the front office, nothing's impossible come the trade deadline. So for me, I really think that we are just in the beginning. I don't think we are too far back. I don't think the Braves are out of this thing. I certainly think that they're going to make a push to take over the division. And look, if they don't take the division, I think they'll certainly be a wild card team. And for all of you out there who, you know, like me, have questioned whether or not it'd be better to be the wild card team or the division champion, maybe we find out this year. Maybe that's our route to the postseason, and maybe, just maybe, that's our route to a World Series. We'll see.
Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Choose America's #1 compact SUV, the Chevy Equinox. Discounted up to $6,500 off. Chevy's full-size pickup truck, the powerful Chevy Silverado, is up to $12,000 off. And big Chevy Silverado 2500 HDs are discounted up to $6,000 off. Plus, enjoy no payments until fall. Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get ready to smile.
I want to talk about this Alex Anthopoulos interview because anytime Alex Anthopoulos takes the mic, speaks, whether it be to the media, whether it be on a radio show, whether it be to the fans himself, I always want to listen because I always want to see where his perspective is and where, you know, he sees the Braves operating out of, because that is what this whole thing revolves around, is the mindset of Alex Anthopoulos. Because if it's not him, it's Terry McGurk or Derek Schiller making a decision. Usually it revolves around the mind of Alex Anthopoulos. So he took time with Cellini and Domino at 680 this week. And, you know, naturally everyone was really curious to see what he had to say. Was he going to say, like Chess Burger did a minute ago, that the Braves are done, just wait for 2025? Or was he going to say that, hey, we're still active, we're going to go after it at the deadline like he did back in 2021? Because early on in 2021, a lot of people would have told you that, hey, hang it up, go for it next year. Ronald Acuna is hurt. You might as well just see what happens next season. Alex Anthopoulos said, nope, we're not going to do that. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and get Jock Peterson and Stephen Vogt. And then later at the trade deadline, I'm going to go get Eddie Rosario. I'm going to go get Jorge Soler, Richard Rodriguez, and so on, Adam Duvall. So my point to you is this. We have a long ways to go, and there's a lot of different avenues to making it to the postseason. It's not always by winning the division. Is that the Braves' main way of doing things? Absolutely. They even won the division back in 2021. I certainly think that is going to be the goal in 2024. But if they are a wild card team, nothing is impossible once you make it to the postseason. So the Braves still have plenty to offer. They still have a lot of talent, and they have a lot of talent that's underperforming, which is really the difference between this year and the World Series year of 2021. Back in 21, you had guys that were having really good seasons. Freddie Freeman was having a good season. Charlie Morton was having a good season. Max Fried was having a good season. They were missing depth pieces, and that's what they got at the trade deadline. Plenty of it. And come, you know, this year, we don't really have that issue. We have our pieces. You're not going to trade away the offense. You're not going to trade away Matt Olson, Sean Murphy, Michael Harris, Ozzie Albies. You're not trading away any of those guys. Those guys are here to stay. But what you do need, maybe some bullpen help, even though the Braves have the second best bullpen ERA in the National League. You can always improve it. But really, I think you're looking for a bat, possibly. And you're looking for good players. That's what Alex Anthopoulos spoke about. It's not necessarily addressing the need right now. You're always going to have needs right now. You want to address those, but a lot of times at the deadline, you're addressing, hey, we want to get this really good player, right? Because we can get him right now. Sean Murphy is a perfect example of that. We can get this guy for this price right now. We need to do it. Which leads me to believe, the more I think about what he had to say, the Braves are going to get a starting pitcher at the deadline. A lot of you guys are going to want to bat. I think that's certainly possible. But to me, the Braves are going to get a starting pitcher at the deadline. Listen to what Alex Anthopoulos says here in a minute. We got 2 sound bites we're going to play. The first, Ronald Acuna, just the immediate reaction. What is he going to do? That kind of thing. It'll just kind of give you some thought as to where AA is approaching the trade deadline from, which I find to be pretty interesting. But all in all, the reason I think that the Braves are going to go after a pitcher is because they want a good player, not only for this year, but for next. When you look at the Braves roster, when you look at, the years of control, the problem they're going to have is the fact that you could potentially lose Max Fried to free agency at the end of the year and Charlie Morton to retirement at the end of the year. That's 2 starting pitchers, 2 of your big 3 starting pitchers gone just like that. And that's not where they want to be. So we're going to go ahead and play the first soundbite from this interview with 680 with Alex Anthopoulos. Of course, this is his immediate reaction to Ronald Acuna's injury and where the Braves would go from there.
Yeah, so I'd say, when the Ronald injury hit, which obviously wasn't too long ago, immediately people are asking me, who are you going to go get? What are you going to go do? And look, our response was, hey, we're going to just see what we have and so on and stick with it and go from there and go internal and reevaluate as we get closer to the trade deadline. Now, if we're not playing as well, it's my job to put anything on the table. So I guess the best way I'd put it is this, because I don't want to create a story that isn't there. My job is, what can I do to help? Can I do anything? Can we add players from the outside? Can we make trades? Can we do things? So, look, I'm always active. I always keep my ear to the ground. It's more challenging when you're at the end of May, beginning of June. It's hard to find trades, right? But what I can tell you is there's teams that are open to having dialogue, and we're going to be creative when we can be.
Really interesting conversation there between Alex Anthopoulos and Chris Domino and Cellini there at 680, because that to me kind of tells you where Alex Anthopoulos' mindset, that's where the Braves' mindset is. The reason I showed you that clip, a lot of you guys are probably out there going, well, Tyler, what does this have to do with anything? Well, there's been a large contingent of Braves fans that are saying what I introduced this segment with, which is, Tyler, we're done. We might as well just wait. Or, Tyler, the Braves are not going to go after it like they did in 2021. That clip, that soundbite from AA, to me proves one thing and one thing only. The Braves are not running away from 2024. They are not putting up a white flag. They are going to be active. They're going to at least be looking for deals. And that is something that I think is important right now. It's because for us to talk about potential trade ideas, we have to establish the fact that the Braves are going to be active in the trade market. Now, they may limp into July, which is not a good thing, but if they have a chance, even in a wild card scenario, the Braves' window for winning championships is only so long. They have to take advantage of every year. And whether you get there with 86 wins or whether you get there with 106 wins, the Braves have to take the shots they're given. They have a shot to do something this year, and I think Alex Anthopoulos knows that, and I find it really interesting to hear him talk just candidly about where they are.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling into Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, like this powerful all-new GMC Sierra 1500 SLT, now available with up to $13,000 off. Purchase the roomy GMC Terrain SLT, discounted up to $97.50 off, and the GMC Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive, discounted up to $8,000 off. Enjoy no payments till the end of summer at Glenn Smith GMC. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Now, what Double A is really good at is saying a lot with telling you little. He's very good at that. He's done it every year. He's never going to tell you what the Braves are going to do. And being in this conversation with 680, he, of course, has to be careful with what he says and, you know, what gets let out, because there's people like me that are going to take what he says and run with it, or other front offices that are going to hear what he has to say, and maybe it influences a deal. Maybe there's a player that, you know, whatever. You get my point. He does not want it to be out there. Now, the next clip is pretty interesting because of the scenario. I mentioned that Alex Anthopoulos dropped some nuggets that were just really interesting to listen to. And he talked about telling his son about the potential acquisition of a certain player. And, of course, he was pushed on it a little bit. You know, you're telling your son this? His son is 11 years old, by the way. And it's pretty interesting to listen to. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look.
Yeah, you know what's funny? So you guys are asking about trades and stuff. So there's one team that I inquired with on a deal, and I tell him, I said, hey, I called on so-and-so, right? And he'll be like, oh, wow, okay. And he's like, hey, when are you going to hear back? I'm like, look, they said they got to take a look at some names, and it'll take a few days. And so, I mean, probably 5 times a day. You hear anything back? Did you hear anything back? Did you get anything back? He'll send me a text. He's 11, right? But every time I talk to him or he gets up in the morning, did you hear anything? Did you get anything? When do you think you're going to hear back? So he's wearing me out.
All right. I know you can't give us the name, but just on a scale of 1 to 10, if you whispered the name to us, scale of 1 to 10, how excited would we get in this room?
Look, you guys had no idea we've been talking Chris Sale for 2 years, right? Not that I wanted you to know, right? But I guess I would tell you this. We have certain needs on the club right now, but we're always looking for good players, right? And sometimes if we think a good player's available and, hey, maybe this is the time to go and get them.
You heard it from the man himself. If there's a good player available, maybe now's the time to go and get him. Now, we can sit here and look at the needs. I think the Braves need to get a starting pitcher. You may think they need a new corner outfielder, and maybe they do, right? I think they need both, to be honest with you. But Double A really left it an open book, right? He didn't tell us anything when he said that. Yeah, if there's a good player available, we're going to want to go get him. Shocker, right? I mean, who would be surprised with any general manager saying, hey, if there's a good player available, I'm going to want him? Of course they're going to want him. I think this kind of opens the doors to really any theory you want to put out there, whether it be Brent Rooker, whether it be Mason Miller, whether it be Tommy Pham, really anybody out there. Justin Verlander with the Astros. I've given you my theories at it. I've given you the way I look at it. I think there's a lot out there. I think there will be a lot out there come July 30th, the trade deadline, and I'm very excited about it. The theories that we've put out, we've tried to make it, a little bit to where it makes sense, as opposed to just, hey, what if they, throwing something at the wall and seeing if it sticks? What if they go do this, right? I don't want to do that. I try to bring it to a level to where you can understand my thinking, whether or not you agree with it or not. Those videos are on the channel. I really encourage you to go check those out if you have not already. Today, we're not going to get into the theories of why I think so-and-so might get picked up. What we are going to talk about is the fact that, hey, the Braves are in this thing. Make no mistake, Alex Anthopoulos is not running away from it. They are going to be active, and look, as long as there's good players in Major League Baseball, Alex Anthopoulos is going to have his ear to the ground, listening in on wherever someone, which is a good player, may be located and may be available. So, with that said, that's going to wrap up that segment. I really think Alex Anthopoulos is going to make a run here once again, just like he did back in 2021. Whether it be 1 acquisition, 2 acquisitions, or 5 acquisitions like it was at the trade deadline back in that World Series championship winning year, I think the Braves are certainly going to make moves.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.